Alright, hello everyone and welcome back to Kottabos Space Program, where today we are having a look at another fun mod, this time in the form of Lackluster Labs Sci-Fi Flying Boxes. And oh my, this mod really intrigues me. Now, it is made by Lackluster Labs, which is a combination of a fellow named Lack and Mr. Wizard and a number of other contributors as well. And they've made a giant pack of, well, sci-fi flying boxes. And normally, this really isn't my kind of mod. I like the stock-alike type of part mods. But this mod reminds me of Babylon 5. I am a big Babylon 5 nerd, and the ships you can build with this just kind of scream that to me. So let's go to the space plane hangar, as it's a bit easier to see things in there. And, well, we have a large number of parts that have been added in by this mod. So, starting with the pods here, we've got a 2x1 advanced nose probe, which if we grab that, as you can see, is, well, 2x1 dimensionally. And then we have the advanced vertical nose probe, which is just a, another unmanned probe for you to send out, but a bit more vertical rather than horizontal. We then have just a sort of typical flat probe core here, not too special, but works in the sort of shape that they go for this mod. We then have another probe core, the Bertie 2000, which is intriguing. It's just a tiny little probe core you can attach to the side of your ship. We then start in with the actual crewed ones, with the Mark 6 Sparrow, which is just a cool little cockpit, be quite nice for some space planes. We then have the Tug, which is a bit more industrial looking. Well, as the name implies, I mean, it is a tug. Then we have the Mark 5 Hog, which is supposed to be meant for more sort of wheeled vehicles, but you could use it for a ship if you so desire. Another nice sort of horizontal line there going. Nice little sort of truck window tinting there, or not tinting rather, but just windows in general. We then have a bridge, which you can attach to the outside of your ship. Now, they kind of work like the external command seat, because if we actually just hit new really quickly, you'll see they are grayed out similarly to the external command seat. So you have to attach them after you have something else. So maybe add a probe core, then one of these nice external bridges. But if we load on the Hog there, and yeah, you just sort of radially attach these to the top or the side, or however really you want to do it. Then after that, we have the Mark 7 cockpit, which is my personal favorite. I don't know why I love this one so much, but let's go to new, and bam, look at that baby. It is just glorious. I don't know why I like this one so much, but I just do. And then we have the Mark 8 Catfish, which is another sort of flat one. Be kind of cool for a lot of different sort of interstellar ships that you might design. Quite a cool little piece of equipment there. We then have another nose probe. Oh, there we are. A Radial Bridge, which you can attach to the side here, and this one's much larger than the other Radial Bridge. I like the look of it. It'd make a very nice sort of addition to your ship there. Then, of course, we have the Mark II Droopy, which is sort of like the one that I like, but a bit stubbier, bigger windows. And then the Buster right here, another smaller one. And yeah, that is all the command pods, so quite a few additions for building whatever ship you may desire. But let's just chuck off these various things. And actually, even though I love that one, let's, oh boy, I always hate when I do this. Let's go out real quick, then back in. Probably an easier way to fix that problem, but oh, I should have hit new instead, but it got grayed out. And then let's select this. Actually, let's go with this Catfish one. I don't know why, but it's calling to me today. And we'll then move on to Propulsion. And again, here we get a lot of additions. We have some linear arrow spikes, which if we attach there, ooh, that kind of sunk into the darn thing. And there we go, that's more visible. So a nice little aerospike engine. We then have a larger aerospike engine, which fits better for this sort of wide type cockpit that we have. We then have an ion engine, which I really like this thing. It is powered by xenon gas and electrical charge, and it just sips that xenon gas. You can basically use this thing for ages. It's not the greatest engine ever. Its thrust is quite low, but man, it is, I don't know, I just love this engine. Very good for flying between planets. We then have a Radial Ion, so another just different variation of the Ion that you can attach to the side. Another size variant of the Radial Ion. We then have the nuclear engine here, which is quite intriguing. It uses a combination of liquid fuel oxidizer, and it does require does have a flame out under 10%, so you are going to need a intake for this. Or, well, it uses the oxidizer, so you could just go with that instead. It's an interesting engine. It also does produce a lot of electrical energy, so that is good. And, of course, who doesn't like a good nuclear-powered engine? We then have the Nerva, which is similar, liquid fuel oxidizer, flame out under 10%. Let's pop that baby on. It's just a gigantic engine. Look at the size of that thing. It's beautiful. Then, of course, some radial variants. We have a nice little radial thruster there you can attach onto your ship. A radial turbojet engine that you can attach on. Then a radial Nerva. Pop on there. Look at that, baby. And then a radial rocket. Intriguing. And yeah, that's really it for the engines. Let's unhook these. And then we move into fuel tanks. Now right here we just got the 1x1 standard tank, and I love the design of these. Just sort of the container industrial look of from it on the side, and the nice little balls in there full of fuel. Very cool, and you can change the tank setup if you just want liquid fuel, oxidizer, xenon gas, monopropellant, Kethane, if you have Kethane installed. We have the standard liquid fuel oxidizer, and I love that it changes the color of it. That's very cool. I like that little addition, but very fun, very nice. We then have a third length tank, so it's basically like this one, but just 1/3 the size. We then have the 2x1 tanks here, which fits very nicely for this wide but not very tall sort of cockpit design, and similarly to the others, you can change the setup of the fuel inside the tank. Very fun indeed. We then, of course, have a third version of that as well, so you can just get a little bit of fuel there. Then we have a service module, which is just monopropellant and also electrical charge. So it's basically, RCS fuel and a battery in a nice little package. Then if we unhook these, we then have a very cool looking expanded tank. This thing is just so cool, and like with the others, you can change what fuel it is in there, but I don't know, I just like that orb design to it. It is just very, very interesting, and of course it carries a crap load of fuel in it. And yeah, that, oh no, we do have a bit more. We have some round tanks here, in the 1.25 meter variety in various sizes, and yeah, then the slightly larger ones in the 2.5 meter variety, and well, similarly, they're just fuel tanks, just sort of bog standard fuel tanks. Then we have a radial RCS tank that's just ginormous, and finally the cellular fuel tank, which is basically just a whole lot of oh god, what's the name of them? It's in here somewhere. Yeah, basically just a whole lot of these Stratus 5 cylindrical monopropellant tanks hooked together, but you can change the fuel type on this one, so you can make it oxidizer, xenon gas, whatever you desire. Very good, very useful, very fun. Then we move on to control surfaces. A lot of stuff in this mod pack, guys, a lot of stuff. We've got a variety of different things. So we basically have a reaction wheel here that is, help your ship move around. A dual action control movement gyroscope. There we go, various size varieties. We have a MechJeb part, if you have MechJeb installed. You can just chuck onto the side of your ship. A old school SAS, which similarly is a radial variant. Then a counterweight, and these are interesting because you have some truck parts in here, which are very cool. And these counterweights are good for sort of offsetting the heavy command pod that you may have for it. So we have a 2x1 counterweight here, which is mass 3, a 0.1 ton weight, which is just not much there, a half-ton weight, getting a bit bigger, a 1-ton weight, which is just a giant slab, and a 5-ton giant weight to counteract any weird movement. We then have some RCS here, which are just gigantic RCS ports to sort of fit in with the larger ship theme to the whole thing. And finally, a microchip, which I have to admit, I have no idea what this thing does. From what it looks like, it commands it, perhaps. It's like another unmanned thing, so maybe you can make a satellite off of this. But yeah, it's a tiny, tiny little chip thing. There we go. You can't really see it. Let's put it on the orange there. There it is, microchip. Good times, good times. Let's take this crap off of here. There we go, there we go. All off, all friendly. Beautiful. Then in structural, oh boy, we've got a lot more. So we've got just some holes here at the 1.2 variety. Nice, simple. Look like the fuel tanks earlier. We then have this cool little hallway, essentially. It is a windowed hull. It's experimental. But yeah, if you have like a little section where your Kerbals could technically walk through one of these things if you had the right entrances and exits to it. Pretty cool. We then have some various hull pieces just to extend the ship, make it look cool. Third piece of that, a fun little walkway hub, which is basically just a giant cube. Good times, good times. We then have some cargo holds, and who doesn't love those? And we have it in 2 size variants, either the full or third. Take those off. A beautiful end cap to, cap off any ends that you may have. Then, of course, a decoupler for the 1x1 sections. Some more 2x5 hull plating, or not plating, but just hull extensions. A 2x1 hull for something like this ship, very nice. A third extension of it. Then, of course, we have the 2x1 cargo bays, quite cool, and of course, a third variant. Then we move into sort of more truck-like things. We have this 2x1 crew bay, which would be quite cool for a transport truck. Just load in a lot of the little seats in here and drive your Kerbals somewhere. Very cool. Also fun for maybe a VTOL aircraft is this. It is a cargo bay, but that lowers itself down, and then you can drive your little rover into it, and then close the ramp up. And I love that they had the little rotating light effect in there. Very cool indeed. I love this little cargo bay. Then we have a... Oh, there. Can we hook it on? Can we hook it on? Oh, it's freaking out a little. But a drop ramp cargo legs. So for that, such a cargo hold like that, we have some legs for it so you could land a craft a bit better, and that is not wanting to cooperate. There we go. Excellent. We have little legs, and we'll take that off immediately. And then, of course, we have an engine fairing here, which is the 2x1 here, which is quite nice. You can fit some engines in that nicely. Then a smaller engine fairing end to close it all off. A 2x1 end cap, similar to the other end cap, but just different in size. We then have another one of these open cargo bay sort of things. Intriguing. I don't exactly know what you'd put in there, but someone more creative than I could probably think of loads of stuff to put in this. Then we have radial attachment points. You can have that on there. Quite cool. A truck bed for those more truck-designed rovers, so there you are. Beautiful. Then we have a 1x1 to a 1.25 meter adapter, so you could go from the sort of industrial look of these, or actually from the circular nature to the more industrial nature of these designs. Similarly with the 2x1 adapter here, so we could go to the 2x1 to the 1x1. And some more of those adapters in various lengths. Always good to have to make your dream ship. Then on the other page, oh boy, we're not done yet. Some more of these little adapters. We're not going to go through all of them because it'll take forever. Then some triangular polymer plates. Some double doors, which, yeah, are a thing. You can have some double doors on there. We have some just normal square polymer plates. Very nice. Then we have some cabs for trucks, which are interesting. So we've got If we flip this around... Nope. There we go. A nice little truck cab. Just put your little control seat in there, and it looks beautiful. And then similarly, we've got a twin version, so you can fit 2 Kerbal seats in there. Very nice, very nice. And finally, the Eagle Crew Pod, which is just a giant pod, well, for your crew, and has a whole lot of electrical charge. It's beautiful. I like the lights on it. Very nice. And that's structural. Aerodynamic, only one thing. A dual air intake. Gigantic air intake for the gigantic engines that are part of this mod. Then we move into utility. More things. We have a 2x1 Salt Reactor. Very fun for all of your electrical needs. A 2x1 solar panel. Once again, for your electrical needs. A radial capacitor bank, which holds a crap load of electrical charge. A radial fusion power plant. Also creates a whole lot of electrical charge, and just look at the size of this thing. It's beautiful. Beautiful. Then we have some other radial batteries here. A shrouded radial solar panel. Very nice. Very good. Then we have a heat and debris shield, which you can pop onto your ship to add some more effects to it. A little more depth. Very nice. We have another heat shield here, which isn't sloped, but just straight. We then have a little 2x1 greenhouse, which I like that actually it has shutters so you can close it up. Very cool. Then we have the airlock doors, which, of course, well, are an airlock. And, yeah, you can use that to get your crew out. Very cool. We then have these little buggy designs, which are intriguing. Basically, you throw a seat into them, and they basically are a nice little structural component for a little rover. And it comes in 2 size variants. Oh, nope, that's the small one. And here is the large one. Just a much larger version of that little buggy. Very cool little thing. Attach some wheels onto it and a command seat. You're good to go. A end docking port here. Excellent. Which does close up. A very cool design to it. We then have the corridor berthing port. Very nice. An extendable common berthing port, which I enjoy. Then you just extend it out. There you go. And beautiful. Does extend quite a ways. And that is it for utility. And then finally in science, oh boy, we're running along here. We have a small fixed satellite dish, a communications tower, which, well, is tower-like. A Communotron 64, which is just a giant Communotron. A lovely Communotron 32, not quite so large. We have an extraction fan, which I'm not entirely sure what that does. Intakes air, oh, and produces electricity. That is wonderful. We have a fuel generator, which uses liquid fuel to make electricity. Let's grab that. Look at that. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And then a small generator, similarly electrical, or liquid fuel to electricity, but a smaller version. We then have a Omni radio or radar dish, very cool for communications. A just small little radar thing that spins around, very fun, very cool. Another spinning scanning satellite dish, very wonderful. Oh boy, I just did that again to the command pod. Okay, grab that. Oh, so many things. Then we have a weather station for collecting science, a wind turbine to, you know, get electricity from the wind, a large cargo box which works with the Kerbal attachment system, another cargo box that also works with that sort of stuff, and yeah, that is all the parts. Oh boy, lots and lots of things. So many things, in fact, that you can build a variety of ships to basically suit whatever need you have. And I've built a quick, just little ship up here, our little test craft, just to show what sort of designs you can really make with this whole system, which, oh my, textures are not loading for the world. That is interesting. But let's ignore the messed up world at the moment and look at the fun ship. And you can see we've got a nice little solar panel in there for electricity. We use the heat shields to sort of block off the sides of the cargo, or the capsule. I don't know why that took me so long to think of the words there. I added some little radar dishes to the front of it just for a little extra design. We have the Salt Reactor working at efficiency 1 right now. I've got the huge capacitor banks on the side holding lots and lots of electricity. We then have a xenon gas tank powering one of these ion engines, a communication tower, and some of these extendable little berthing ports here on both sides. We have it. Beautiful little ship, interesting design-wise. And yeah, like I said, normally, whoa, wow, I said this way in the beginning. Normally I like the more stock-alike parts, but this, it reminds me of the human ships from Babylon 5. The more sort of squared-off, elongated designs, and I love that, I really do. And so, yeah, if you would like to check out this mod for yourself, you can follow the link in the description, as always. And I would suggest you give it a look, even if this isn't really your style. There's just so many parts. It's worth it just to sort of mess around with it. It is just a cool little ship. I quite enjoy the look of everything. It is just beautiful. But yeah, give it a go, and I hope you have enjoyed this episode today, and of course, that you come back for the next. But until then, thank you for watching, my friends, and as always, have a good one. Now to figure out why the planet is so messed up. Why? What happened down there? A great cataclysm befell us, and now this ship is all that's left. Oh no. Later, guys.